This is the haul from the garden over the past couple days. And now I've got to figure out what to do with it because it is out of control on the table. In fact, some of it is starting to rot, so yeah, got to do something here. Now obviously I cannot eat all of this within like a day or two, so I've got to decide how I want to preserve this stuff. And I just wanted to take you along with me as I use different preserving methods to make this stuff last longer. And if you see any vegetable along the way and you can think of a different, even better way to preserve it, please let me know. I would love to get more ideas and just have more tools and a wider variety of dishes that I can make with this stuff. So let's see what I want to start with here. I think I will start with these jalapenos over here. Some of them are beginning to shrivel. Most of them are fine. But I think what I'm going to do is ferment these. Matt and I really like them on tacos. So I will chop them up as small as I can, and then I'll show you how to ferment them. Okay, peppers have been chopped. My fingers have been washed with soap, or else they will burn like crazy later. They probably will anyway, but it won't be as bad. Now I'm ready to ferment these peppers. So I've got 2 jars of the same size and approximately the same weight. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and fill 1 jar with the peppers using my trusty funnel. That was actually the perfect amount. It went almost to the very top, so great. Now, I'm gonna pour water in until the peppers are just covered and all the air bubbles escape. Now I've got to find out what the weight of the water is so I can figure out how much salt needs to go in there. And the way I'll do that is take the other jar, which is the same weight as this jar. I'm going to put it on my scale, tear it out, set it on grams. Now it's on 0 grams. So let's see, I need that funnel again. I'm going to try to pour the water in here. I'll have to wash my hands again, I guess. Okay, and the weight of the water is 187 grams. We need 2% salt. I'll have to use my calculator 1 second. So 0.02 times 187. That's 3.74 grams of salt. I'm just going to round up to 4 because it's better to have a little too much salt than not enough salt in this process. Okay, I'll tear that out again and we're back to, whoops, keep forgetting to take the funnel off. We're back to 0. Now I'll take my salt, and this is kosher salt. We're gonna try to get about 4 grams in there. Woo! Okay, that went fast. Whoa! It ended up 5 grams just because it poured really fast, but it's not that big of a deal. Let's swish that around until it dissolves. Come on. Okay, good enough. All right, now we pour it back in with the peppers. Got all the salt out. Great. I forgot to put garlic in there. I think I still want to put some garlic in. So I'll just chop up a few cloves. It's not going to make that much difference as far as the height of this water level goes. And if I have to add a little more water, it's actually fine because I put in slightly too much salt. So I'm going to do that real quick. All done with the garlic. This is complete as far as I'm concerned. This will sit in room temperature with a lid on loosely, not tightened down, but just kind of so the bugs won't get in, but you want some airflow to be able to get in there as well. Or rather, you want it to be slightly loose so that the gases can escape while it's fermenting. This is going to sit for probably 3 days, just based on past experiences with peppers. But it depends on how fermenty you want it to taste. Like 2 days, you wouldn't really taste much of a difference, and you could pop it in the fridge and it would continue to ferment very slowly. 3 or 4 days, you're going to get a more, I don't know, it's just a fuller fermented flavor. You'll see what I mean if you do this. So anyway, I'm going to put this in a slightly dark location and let that sit. Since we're on the pepper bandwagon here, I suppose I will go ahead and take care of this massive pile of cayenne. I'm not sure if you can see it. Hold on. Okay, it's a lot. A lot. What am I going to do with this? Probably dehydrate. So I've got to chop it into smaller pieces, lay them out on the dehydrator racks, and that's it. Just get them in there for 6 to 8 hours, at which point you can choose to put them up in that form, in the small chunks, or you can put it in a grinder, a spice grinder, and turn it into powder. Then you've got cayenne powder. So this is a pretty easy method of preserving, in my opinion. I'm just gonna get started with the chopping. While you're here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for me. Oh, seeds just fell out. Oops. You know, I do this channel for fun. It really is for my own enjoyment and for my family and friends to see what we're doing here and enjoy the garden from a distance. But other people might enjoy this channel as well, and so you can help it grow by subscribing and liking and commenting, because the YouTube algorithm likes that sort of thing. So I have got 3 trays of cayenne. That's a really good haul. The last one I did, the last batch I did was only 1.5 trays. So good haul, and this is gonna go in the dehydrator for a good long while until they are no longer tacky. They're kind of crunchy. Not crunchy, but they've gone a little past tacky, if that makes sense. And that should be 6 to 8 hours. By the way, I'm standing here in front of where I'm currently keeping my canned goods. What I've canned so far, holding peppers, okay, hold on. What I've canned so far is cucumbers. These are just real basic pickles. Half water, half vinegar, add some salt and some spices like dill, mustard seed, peppercorn. And then these are canned tomatoes. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cans. I've used a couple already, and I've used some tomatoes fresh. So we've done pretty well, I would say, with the tomatoes. You see in there on the table, I have some tomatoes. I don't think I'm going to can them today because I just don't have a large enough batch. So I'll do something else with those. Okay, so I'm going to preserve these tomatoes because it's a really small batch and it's mostly cherry tomatoes. These are going to be preserved in oil, which will be stored in the fridge rather than canning these. And I've actually never tried this before, so looking forward to it. It'll also just make really tasty olive oil that I can use in cooking later. So apparently what you do is, well, I gotta wash these first, so I'll rinse them, and then you just put them whole onto this tray. Okay, take the little stemmy stems off, put them on the tray. I don't think you have to worry about cutting them because we're gonna roast these at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes, and that will make the skins split and help to pull or draw some water out of these before we mix it with the oil. I think I'll also put a couple cloves of garlic in here and go find some basil as well. This big guy, I'll have to chop him up, so I'll be right back. I will drizzle this with a little olive oil and sprinkle with some salt. I don't know how much. Quite a bit, I would imagine. Then a couple cloves of garlic. And I'll go grab some basil. Actually, should I roast the basil or should I put it in later? I think I'll put it in later because they may turn into crisps if I roast them with the tomatoes. All right, so I'm putting these in the oven. For 20 minutes. While we are waiting on the tomatoes, my next project is to juice these cucumbers. Other than pickles, that's the only other thing I've thought of to use these quickly, and I really like it. I'm gonna mix it with some lemon juice, some sweetener. I put ginger juice in there before as well, and it's just a really tasty option other than water. I can't really eat sugar or fancy drinks, so this is really nice for me. And it's probably the last batch or the next last batch because I had to pull out most of my cucumber plants. So just gonna juice these, and it really doesn't take very long. My little container is full, so now I will dump it into the big container. I have strained this stuff before to try to get most of the pulp out, but it's not really worth it. What happens is when this sits overnight in the fridge, most of the pulp settles at the bottom anyway, and because the spout in this container is a little higher up, most of the pulp just stays like down here. Okay, I have juiced to the point where we've filled this halfway. And that's about as far as I want to go because I like to put a little more than half full of water, filtered water, and then we'll add some lemon juice too. I've got 3 cucumbers left. I'll just put these in the fridge, probably chop them up and make cucumber salad one of these days. I don't have fresh lemons right now, but I will use store-bought lemon juice. You could use lime juice. Actually, that might even be better. And I'm gonna put 1/2 cup in there. Finally, I will add 20 drops of stevia. And if I had ginger, I would probably juice some ginger too. And it's ready to drink, but I will put it in the fridge and wait till tomorrow because I like it when the pulp settles and I like it cold. I've got a number of little squashes like these 3 types, and each of these I would do a slightly different thing with. So these moonbeam squashes have a pretty firm skin. I don't know how long they will last in the pantry, but I've had some in there for like a month and they're fine. These aren't like all winter long lasting like some winter squashes are, but I'm just gonna keep these in my pantry and cook them up later as if they were, you know, like a butternut squash. You could cook it in the oven. You could chop it up and treat it more like a sweet potato. So lots of good options with these. Then you've got something like this delicata squash, which, to be honest, I'm not totally sure whether this needs to be refrigerated or not. The skin is very firm, so I'm going to treat it like the moonbeams for now, and if I notice that they start to look bad, then I will either cook them or put them in the fridge. But I think it should be safe to just keep these in the pantry. This, I cooked some up and it reminded me of sweet potato, and I actually paired it with sweet potato in a stir fry. That was really good. Then there are squashes like this guy, just your summer squash, or zucchini. Both of those are in the same category of preservation. And these are good if you want to chop them up or put them in the food processor and shred them up and freeze them that way to use in baking or in stir fries. With these, of course, you could chop them into little discs and batter them in some egg, you know, then batter with, not batter, but coat with like a cornmeal mixture and some spices. Put those on a tray, freeze them, flash freeze them, then you can put them in a Ziploc bag and freeze those all together. If you just throw them in the Ziploc bag, they'll probably freeze as like a block, and then it's like all gross when it starts to thaw, and it's really hard to separate them when you want to fry. So that's what I would do with these and with zucchini. Okra. I'm not totally sure what to do with these, to be honest. In the past this summer, I've treated them the same as a summer squash. I battered them, coated them in the cornmeal mixture, and mixed them in with the squash for later frying. Other than that, I'm not sure what to do with them other than just put them in the fridge for now, and that is what I will be doing. I just went outside and grabbed some herbs of all different kinds, because this is a whole other category of plant to preserve. Most of these I would just dry. I would take the rosemary, for example, and hang it by a string inside and let that dry, and then you can just pull the little leaves off of it and store that away. The same thing goes for thyme. Oops. The thyme you can just hang and let dry. What else? Sage, hang dry. Oregano, hang dry. But with basil or parsley or cilantro, I would either just refrigerate it or freeze it. And if you want to freeze it, especially basil, you would blanch it in some boiling water for just a couple seconds. Then lay that out on a tray to cool. Then roll it up in some parchment paper and put that in a freezer bag. Then you'll have fresh basil whenever. Well, we are back to the tomato project. They are roasted, and I'm going to put these into a jar. This pan is heavy. Wait, hold on. Get in there. They're very brown on the bottom. Hopefully that's okay. They smell good. Whoa. Okay. Grab the stragglers. Good deal. Now, jam them down in there. And I decided not to put the basil because I don't know what that fresh water content will do. I don't know if it'll make it go bad faster or not. It'd probably be fine, but I'll just leave it like this. Now I will fill this with olive oil, leaving about 1 inch of headspace, but making sure that all the tomatoes are fully covered. And I'm just watching the air bubbles come out and making sure that we press all the air out. Nice. Just gonna give that a little extra. Whoop. Gotta take the lid off. Beautiful. This will go in the fridge with a lid, obviously. You gotta get that. But this should last for at least a month, so I hear. I'm looking forward to using these in my cooking. Well, thanks for watching as I worked today. Now I have to clean the kitchen and the dining room, and it's pretty disastrous. So I'm gonna quit the projects and get to cleaning. So I'll see you guys later. Until next time, hope you have a wonderful day and happy gardening.